In terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological spectrum.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
I kind of like what he's saying right there. He's not copying Donald Trump. I don't believe so.
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not sure. I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense.
Common sense is the correct answer, honestly.
Okay.
Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32% in 3 years. That's growing the money 8 times faster than the economy. No wonder we have the worst inflation in 4 decades.
8 times faster. That's insane. What have they been doing?
I'm going to cap spending, cut waste, so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. You'll want to be able to pay your mortgage again? You want to be able to afford rent? Then you have to vote for Pierre Poilievre, because I'm the only one with a common sense plan that will bring back the buying power of your paycheck.
Okay, I like common sense. That sounds very sensible to me.
And most of all, being proud of our country and unapologetic for our history. We need to honor our past and our shared values. We need to live out the dream that started with John A. Macdonald. Yes, I said John A. Macdonald, who believed in an independent and sovereign Canada. We need to uphold our heroes, stop tearing down our symbols, remind people who come here that when they're given a Canadian flag and they land on Canadian soil, that it's the greatest gift on earth and that they should be proud to be part of the Canadian family. That's what it means to be a proud Canadian. That's what it means to put Canada first. Let's bring it home.
Okay. Canadians are proud people. I honestly think so. And they are not about becoming the 51st state, just like Donald Trump is trying to say.
Yesterday you said that you endorse Israel proactively defending itself by hitting Iran's nuclear sites, which is something that President Joe Biden does not endorse. Do you not feel like this could lead to a likelihood of an all-out conventional war between Iran and Israel? And do you not agree with Joe Biden and his assessment?
I think the idea of allowing a genocidal, theocratic, unstable dictatorship that is desperate to avoid being overthrown by its own people to develop nuclear weapons is about the most dangerous and irresponsible thing that the world could ever allow.
I agree.
And if Israel were to stop that genocidal, theocratic, unstable government from acquiring nuclear weapons, it would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Yeah. Totally agree with what he's saying right there. I think that's very sensible.
On behalf of all Canadians, I want to thank you for your immense courage and the personal political and non-political price that you have paid for standing up for your convictions and defending freedom of speech.
This is a conversation with Jordan B. Peterson on January the 2nd, 2025.
Because I know you have paid a very big price for that. but you have never bent, you have never backed down, you've had a spine of steel, and there are countless other people who will have the freedom to express themselves because you paid the price for them. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's been a privilege, far more than a price, definitely, and it continues to be that way.
I think freedom of speech is very important. We have to fight for our values, for our freedom. We have to defend it and be strong in the face of adversity and authoritarian regimes who want to take our freedom from us.
Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. You're a CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods that they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if there's ever been a news agency that has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now you've made yet another falsehood in your question. Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not...
Which is what I said. In the House, I said there are media reports.
And you think that's a responsible thing to go on, to make that kind of a statement at the time without speaking?
What kind of statement?
Calling something terrorist.
I didn't. I said there were media reports.
That's the distinction we're making? Okay.
No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event. And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government. So do you think the CTV was irresponsible in putting out that tweet?
Oh man.
Do you think it was a responsible comment to make in the House of Commons?
Sorry, I'm asking, I have already answered that. Do you think CTV was irresponsible to put that tweet out?
He has no answer for this.
None of my business. That's not for me to comment.
Well, you just did comment. Okay. So, I just hope you're not going to print something that you have to apologize for again. Okay.
That was funny to watch.
The Prime Minister has now admitted that the immigration system is broken after 9 years of his government. He blames bad actors. So let's put our detective hat on and find out who those bad actors were. Who was the head of the federal government that increased permits for temporary foreign workers by 154%? Who was the head of the federal government that issued 211% more permits for international students and a population growth plan that boosted growth by 300%. Wow. Can we identify who was that bad actor?
Canadians needed and businesses needed extra support, so asked for more temporary foreign workers, asked for more international students, and we gave them.
I don't think we found the bad actor yet. Because he blames it on labor market needs, but the biggest growth happened in non-labor market immigration. For example, he boosted permits for international students by 211%. Right. And
yeah, this is just Trudeau being a fool, just like always. He just don't want to admit he is responsible for this. He takes no responsibility for all of these mistakes, and now he has to resign.
refugees by 726%. That has nothing to do with filling job vacancies. And when it comes to temporary foreign workers, he allowed more to go to places with already high unemployment. So once again, who was the bad actor that made these terrible decisions?
Speaker, these little performances that the Leader of the Opposition puts on are not fooling anyone. The only thing he is interested in is his own interests, his own quest for power.
Mr. Speaker, he's not helping us find the bad actor. You know, it's like there's been someone else running the country for the last 9 years while the system has come crumbling down. He claims that he cares about housing, but on that subject, maybe we'll ask him this question. Who is the head of the government that was warned by its public service 3 years ago that increasing population growth by 300% would cause the massive housing shortages that we see today?
When he was Stephen Harper's failed housing minister, he created a total of 6 affordable housing units across the country. He was part of a government that completely pulled back from any investments in housing.
When I was housing minister, we had 1 home built for every 1.5 people added to the population, which
This is just Trudeau being a fraud once again. I don't think he knows exactly what he's talking about, honestly.
meant we were adding houses faster than we needed to, and we were providing affordable homes of half the cost of today. Last year, they added 1 home for every 5 new people, the biggest housing deficit in history. So once again, who was the bad actor running the government that was warned by its officials that all of this out-of-control population increase would cause a housing shortage?
The government in which the leader of the opposition was their failed housing minister deliberately chose to get out of the business of housing, which meant we needed to step up with a national housing strategy in 2017 and with record investments, not just to create more housing, but to change the way housing is built in communities across this country. That is money put into the pockets of municipalities to invest, to densify, to rapidify, to accelerate the permitting.
Mr. Speaker, when
Yeah, unfortunately, they probably did nothing with the money.
I was housing minister, housing was half the cost. When I was jobs minister, I actually cut down the number of temporary foreign workers to make sure Canadians got the job. But the bad actor he's referring to is the same head of government that allowed 211% more study permits for people who weren't supposed to be working. He allowed 154% more temporary foreign workers while Canadians were looking for jobs, and 726% more refugees. Mr. Speaker, if he wants to know who is the bad actor that broke the immigration system, why doesn't he do what he loves to do the most? Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. He loves to do the most is looking into the mirror. That's sad.
Canadians desperate to turn the page on this dark chapter in our history might be relieved today that Justin Trudeau is finally leaving. But what has really changed? Every Liberal MP in power today and every potential Liberal leadership contender fighting for the top job helped Justin Trudeau break the country over the last 9 years. All Liberal politicians actively worked to pass into law the job-killing inflationary carbon tax, a tax that Carbon Tax Carney endorsed in his book. All supported a law quadrupling the tax over the next 5 years. All voted for or actively supported Trudeau's out-of-control spending, debt, and immigration. All passed Trudeau's housing policies that doubled the cost of homes. All Liberal politicians helped pass catch-and-release bail and house arrest for the most rampant reoffenders. Policies that increased violent crime 50%, gun crime 116%, and hate crime by 250%. So given that Liberal MPs and leadership contenders unanimously supported everything Trudeau has done, why dump him now, right before an election? Have they had a change of heart? Is it because they feel guilty that they doubled housing costs, hiked taxes, unleashed crime, broke immigration, forced a quarter of the population into poverty? No. They continued supporting Trudeau when he did all of those things. No, their only objection is that he is no longer popular enough to win an election and keep them in power. They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control, and now the government is out of control. This cannot go on.
I agree, this cannot go on. The Canada is in a very, very terrible state right now, such as the United States as well and Europe as well. Hopefully it will get better. We will see what happens.
We need a carbon tax election now to choose between the NDP Liberal Costly Coalition that taxes your food, punishes your work, doubles your housing costs, and unleashes crime and drugs in your community, or common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Canadians can take back control of their lives and their country. Take back control of our border. Take back control of immigration. Take back control of spending, deficits, and inflation. Take back control of our streets by locking up criminals, banning drugs, treating addiction, and stopping gun smugglers. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold family, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and put Canada first.
Okay, that sounds all good to me, but it's probably gonna cost a lot of money to do that, and I'm not sure where he's gonna find it.
All with one mission, to bring home Canada's promise that every hardworking Canadian gets a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food and homes on safe streets where all are united for the country we know and love. Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home.
Let's bring it home, it says. We will see what happens next. Hopefully you enjoyed this video with me. Let me know what you think about this, and thank you as always for watching. Click right there to watch the next one, and I will see you there. Bye bye.